Welcome to the Other Duties as Assigned podcast. I am Kasey Vaughn, joined by Dylan Brown. Dylan, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So did you complete your undergrad and graduate degree at Cortland?
Yeah.
So what was
I
that,
went 5 years?
years?
Yeah, straight 5 years, got it all done in one shot. Yeah, I didn't waste any time.
Yeah.
I just went right into the grad program once I was done.
So let's jump right into your experience in Cortland's athletic department. Were you involved in any activities in the athletic department? The event practicum stuff, were you an event manager? How were you staying involved?
Yeah, I was an event manager under Jacqueline Lawrence. I was the event manager for women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's hockey, and softball during my time at Cortland.
So you had your plate pretty full.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the best things about Cortland's sport management department is the opportunities that they give their students. You were, I'm sure, able to learn so much during that time as an event manager. How did those experiences help you where you are today in your role with Cornell in their athletic department?
Yeah, so right now I'm the event management and operations assistant here at Cornell University. And one of the biggest things that helped me earn this position was my event management experience. The one thing that's great about Cortland is that they have so many connections to surrounding universities. I was able to get an internship at Binghamton University and Syracuse University during my time here because they had an alumni connection. So that helped me gain some experience and really boost my resume before Cornell.
Wow, and you obviously spent 5 years in the department. Was there a certain professor or administrator in the athletic department who had a big impact on your time and in your career path even?
Yeah, one professor that kind of sticks out to me is Erin Morris. I had her for a ton of classes, especially with event management. I've had her twice. And the second portion of the class, we had to run our own event. And she had a special one designated for my group and I. We had to put on a Paralympic sport, goalball. We had a student who was visually impaired, and he was super passionate and super into goalball, and he wanted to put an event on campus. He needed help doing it, so Professor Morris reached out to me and my group, and we were able to do it along with the women's basketball team. We used it as a team building event. They had a ton of fun. Yeah. And we were able to give out prizes and have a lot of laughs. And it was a really great experience. And I'm glad that Professor Morris trusted me enough to put on a successful event like that.
I actually just heard of goalball this past fall for the first time ever. It's big in Finland, and I was taking one of Dr. Mahoney's classes, and that's when I learned of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. For anybody that's interested in like Olympic or Paralympic sports, Erin Morris is going to be your go-to person.
All right, cool. Good to know. If you could go back to your first class in professional studies in the sport management department, what would you tell yourself, 6 years later after going through it?
Enjoy my time, but don't waste my time. I think the biggest thing about this industry is having experience and having a detailed, extensive resume that kind of sets you apart from other people applying for certain positions. I love Cortland. I still do, but I miss it very much. But I don't regret all the opportunities I took while I was there. Right. I was always doing something. I was at Binghamton for a semester. I was at Syracuse for a semester. And then I was at Cornell originally, right before COVID-19 hit. So I was always doing something, trying to set myself apart from everybody else. Was
there a certain class that changed your perspective?
That's a good question. Trying to think. Ticketing.
Okay.
That was one of the classes I took that actually kind of changed my perspective because it made me realize that the sport industry is actually a customer service industry. You're providing an experience and a service for fans. For people that are invested into a sport organization.
Right.
So providing customer service and being able to provide them with a package that they're going to need for a desired game, I think that's very valuable.
Right.
I think anybody that's trying to get into the sport industry should have some sort of experience or knowledge of inside sales or graphic design.
Okay. Interesting. And again, we're speaking with Dylan Brown. He spent 5 years, in Cortland Sport Management Department, now with Cornell. Dylan, what was the last book you read?
Can't remember the last book I read. You caught me. Kasey, you got me. I don't remember. It's probably going to be a textbook during my grad. I'm sorry. That's one of the things that I want to get better at is reading.
You know, you are quite busy. I'll give you that. You're very busy.
Yeah. If reading emails is like reading a book, then I'm like a novelist at this point. I've read too many emails in the past couple of months.
Well, there you go. I guess that counts. And last question. Who is the person that you admire most in the sport industry?
Do they have to be living or can they be deceased?
Alive or dead?
Probably Cassius Clay.
Okay.
For people who don't know, it's Muhammad Ali. So Muhammad Ali is probably my biggest inspiration. Outside of his amazing boxing career, he sacrificed his professional and personal fame and fortune for a cause that he believed in. He had to give up all of his boxing licenses because of how people portrayed him, because he was trying to dodge a draft and he was protesting the Vietnam War. That actually caused him to go back into boxing in his later stages of life, and that actually led to his development of Parkinson's. So this icon of the sport risked his life for a cause that he believed in. And I think that says a lot about him, and that says a lot about sacrifice. Right. Sacrifice is probably the biggest thing that people have to learn about the sport industry. You sacrifice weekends, you sacrifice nights, you sacrifice time away from your family for this industry. And I think that's why Muhammad Ali inspires me so much.
That's a really, really good connection that people might not always realize. You know, they see the big stages of sport, but they don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Dylan, thanks for joining the Other Duties as Assigned podcast. It was great to have you on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.